and welcome to the regular meeting of the Recreation and Parks Commission. Roll call, please.
Chairperson Bob Moda.
I'm here.
Vice Chairperson Kelly Watson.
I'm present.
Commissioner Mark Cavagnolo.
Here.
Commissioner Dave Bloobs.
Present.
Commissioner Julie Stolnak.
Present.
Would everyone please rise if you can, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. And now is the time for public communication. Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close public communication. Move on to the consent calendar. Regular meeting minutes from September 17th, 2025. Anyone?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Was that 4-0?
Yeah, because I wasn't here.
401. Okay, that's one abstaining. Okay, thank you. New business, employee spotlight. Vivian Gonzalez. Who's got that?
I will take it.
Thank you.
So this month for our employee spotlight, we wanted to recognize Vivian Gonzalez. She had to make her own slide, I guess, and put it up. A lot of than ordinary to surprise her with this when she had to create the agenda. But Vivian's been with us, I feel like at least 6 months since January. Okay. And then she also, before she was hired on, she was a temp with our department. And you could tell immediately when she joined us, she just fit with the team. She was a quick learner, adapted to all the things that we throw at her on a daily basis. She has taken on these CCBs, and we've been seeing consistency, no errors, it's a miracle. Yes, yes. But she's just been such a great addition, and she's been in the rec park all this time, and unfortunately, I think today she moved over to the library, so we will miss her greatly at the park, but they moved the admin offices over back to the library side. So she'll be over there, but I'm sure she will still come visit us all the time. But we just wanted to say thank you for all that you've done and continue to do for us and everybody here, and you just have been an awesome addition to us. So thank you.
Thank you, Vivian, and congratulations. Oh. There we go. Hey. Okay, we'll keep rolling right down here. Okay, now number 3, El Segundo Beach Shuttle Service. Who's got that one? There you go.
We'll have Recreation Supervisor Ryan Delgado present on the shuttle.
Good evening, Commission. So as you know, last year, our beach shuttle numbers were not the strongest. So what we did this year was we really partnered with Swoop to get some solid numbers on there. And tonight I'll just kind of give a little overview of the history of the beach shuttle, some of the numbers I was able to find, and then what our recommendation is going to be. So the beach shuttle and I are about similar age. It started in June of 1985 and has run every summer since then. The shuttle originally only ran in summers, but added spring break in the late 90s as well. Traditionally, it's ran, again, during El Segundo High School, summer and spring break. During the pandemic and there was quite a few changes in the licensing process, so when we came back to full strength, we partnered with Swoop and outsourced this service. So since then, Swoop has done a really good job. We've had consistent times, consistent drivers, and offering 2 shuttles. Prior to that, with the licensing change, there was some days where we might only have 1 shuttle, which obviously transportation is based on consistency. So Swoop has done a really good job in supporting us. I was able to go back and find some numbers from 2015, and the shuttle ridership was very strong. You can see in 2015, it was 4,700. I couldn't find some of the numbers past that, but I can tell you in my childhood, those shuttles were constantly occupied, so I'd guess ridership would be slightly higher, similar to what you're seeing then. In 2002, that was kind of the first dip, and that was the first year of partnership with Swoop, and that was after we returned from the pandemic. In 2003, or 2023, there was a little increase in that ridership up to 2,100. And then in 2004 was kind of the beginning of the increase in e-bikes throughout town, and that kind of correlates with our decline in ridership. This past summer, we only had 776 riders total. Some of the data that Swoop tracked for us was, we offer 6 stops throughout town. We have one at Recreation Park, Center Street, Imperial in Maine, Richmond, and then Grand and Virginia. Our most popular pickup points were Center and Richmond, which kind of makes sense. There's 2 big parking lots available for people to, and our ridership was a lot of families this year, so that offers some good parking. Some of the other stops are kind of just street stops, like we utilize a bus stop that's over on Virginia and Grand. Most of our riders were either before 12:30 or after 2:30, which makes sense. Get to the beach early when it's nice, leave before it gets too cold. And Fridays were our busiest day, averaging 12.14 riders. Not in here, but our busiest ridership days, there was a little peak around 4th of July, and then kind of went to about July 10th, and that's when we kind of captured actually some of our most riders. We did a survey. We had it posted throughout, and some of the insights were e-bikes were described as faster, more convenient. It allowed people to travel on their own time. 57 people 57% of people stated they were very likely to use the shuttle, but again, our actual ridership numbers did not support that statement from the survey. 42% stated they used the shuttle in the past, but no longer utilize. 26 stated they had never used the shuttle. Survey just kind of shows that our residents prefer flexible options and kind of being on their own time. The shuttle time should be about 20 minutes, but if you have your own e-bike, that erases that 20 minutes and kind of gets you down to the beach quicker. Not anything statistical or general survey, but I did notice on my days when I was traveling to the beach that there was a lot more e-bikes and I would say more families down at Dockweiler and El Porto, but less of the youth there as well. So I don't know if some of our kids in town aren't going to the beach as much, but that was just kind of my own personal observation. And so that kind of brings us to our recommendations. The cost of this program to operate was $83,220. Given these factors and where we've kind of fallen with our ridership, we are recommending to sunset this program and take some time, do some research, and find out where we can reallocate these funds. And then I will open it up for any questions and comments.
Anyone?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
You said that it peaked around the first weeks of July. Did that correlate at all with the junior lifeguard program?
No. So prior to 2020, we, because we had a few parents in town, and so this was when Meredith was director, and we had met with some of the JG parents, and we did run, because our shuttle starts at 11 and JG starts earlier, so we bumped up our shuttle time to try and get JG kids. We had 7 riders the one summer, and I think it was less than 15 the following summer. So really no correlation between junior guards and our shuttle ridership. And then that parking lot is kind of madness within that, and our shuttles would get trapped often in those parking lots, and it would kind of almost take like anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes for a shuttle to make a loop and get out of there. So we didn't have a lot of junior guard ridership.
It would be
The
great
whole
if it
season,
was
yeah.
used, but
Yeah.
clearly not, so.
Well, and then my next question is, does it make sense to offer it as a charter for things like that? Like if we did find that there was a bump or that all of it was concentrated around particular events, could we do, because I know we use it to do some of the field trips and things like that, could we consider it more of a field trip because the ridership's concentrated, or is it really just, even that's been replaced?
It's hard to say if it's like more vacations or like kind of like an anomaly. That's when people were doing it, if weather was nice. Maybe I can go back and see if anything was kind of going on. If we had nicer weather, go look at the dates to see. I think kind of what I had discussed with Linnea as well with this prior to is I think it would be, let's make a decision on the shuttle if we want to keep this program going forward, and then we could have like another discussion or get together, kind of like our transportation committee that we had, and let's figure out
What are the
what
one-offs?
the one-offs are. Yeah.
Totally, yeah, and obviously we can't predict weather, so I
Yeah.
wasn't even suggesting that. I was just like, if it was around something.
Something, yeah.
Then I was gonna say, yeah, why don't we just go to the one-off? And I do know that the Major Events Committee is really, interested in how we could use those funds potentially for the World Cup stuff and the Olympics, so I'm very much in support of what you're recommending, but I just wanted to make sure we'd exhausted and that there wasn't some group gonna be standing there going, well, wait a minute, we were relying on that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like, looking at the Friday date where we had 12 riders per day is not very strong, but like, is there maybe select days that we decide in the future to offer this program? Maybe it's not a Monday through Saturday program like it is. Maybe it's 2 days a week, and that's something I think we can get together and I'll figure out.
Anyone else?
I had something. Did you notice a downturn in ridership once you required rec park card and charging for it?
That was back in, when did we put tennis court fees in? I think that was 2008, 2010. Sometime around there. So I don't have data to like back up that, because all I could pull was up to 2015.
I mean, it's still a great deal at $1, but I
Yeah,
was just wondering
yeah.
if people stopped taking it, needing to have a rec park card and then the charge both ways. I know when my son was younger, we used to ride the beach shuttle all the time. But I was never showing anything and we didn't pay anything at that time, so. Yeah.
No overhead.
Yeah. No, we didn't do any, no, we didn't have any charge this summer.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
We were trying to boost numbers as well with it.
I just had a question about the survey.
Mhm.
So you said 57% were very likely. Was that the kind of the top radio on that, or was there more?
Let's see. Yeah, we had 3 questions for that. Like, would you use it in the future? Are you likely to use it? Will you not use it? And, I just kind of assumption on that. Sometimes it's hard to see things go. I rode the beach shuttle as a kid, 4 days a week. So this one's kind of hard to sunset and move off. So I wonder if some of the survey results I might not use it, but it's nice to
But
be
there
there.
there wasn't like a definitely.
Yeah,
more than,
no.
Okay, more than very likely. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, I for sure wrote it in June of '85, so this one's near and dear to my heart, but when the number crunching on this is pretty astounding. When you look at the cost of the program and the number of riders.
Yeah.
If you do that math.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
107.24 cents per rider.
Right, so, and then I'm wondering, how the riders are counted. I'm thinking that they're probably counted twice. They're probably counted to go down and back, so
Yes.
if everybody wrote it down and back, it's $200 per ride.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that one's hard to overcome. And then if you look back to 2024, if that's the case, that's still $100 a ride, even before, which seems absolute crazy, any other program.
Yeah.
So this one feels really sad to let go, but
And when you look at our
that's pretty
lift
tough.
program, we could, again, future discussions, but $20 can get 3 people down there in a lift if necessary.
I liked your idea of the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Those seem to be were those the highest? I know Friday and Saturday. I
Just
think were the
Friday,
2
Saturday. We
highest.
didn't operate on
So maybe-
Sundays. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it used
Yeah.
to be.
It used to
7
be.
days a week.
Yeah.
Maybe just an option as a Friday, Saturday rather than just cut the program completely. We could do a little bit and then see how that summer goes, because this was, I think, you talked about the weather, I think it was a little bit, it was a little bit cloudy this summer. It was pretty mild, right?
This was a really nice summer, and even
Nice,
like
I mean, good beach weather summer?
good beach weather.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
There wasn't that many days that I say
Of
were not
cloudy.
beach
Okay.
days. You know, I've seen that more in spring break where it's a little colder and kind of reflective of that. But like, you know, going back to kind of some of these numbers, there's one gray summer in there, and the ridership was probably still very strong.
Is it 2022?
Probably somewhere around there. I remember one of the years with Swoop was kind of gray, and so it might have been 2022. But you know, going from a strong, even if you throw out 2015, going from 3,300 down to 776, that's too drastic of a drop.
So I agree with you, e-bikes is part of the reason for sure, and they're probably not going away. But I guess we're using Prop
Prop A and C funds.
The other thing that, I mean, staff recommendation, I'm personally gonna vote to go staff recommendation, but it doesn't have to be gone forever. Like we can see, you know, if there's demand back, if e-bikes is just a trend and they go away, or if, you know, we can always bring it back, particularly if Prop A isn't going away.
No, those funds would not go away. Those are half-cent raises in LA County, so we will get those funds ongoing. And maybe that's something we can do here tonight, is kind of nominate a couple members and we can come up with a plan.
That's all I have.
That part's not on the agenda.
Okay,
So, we can bring it back.
For the future.
For the future, that is
Absolutely.
correct. Anyone else? Yeah, how about a motion?
I'll motion to, I don't know, how did you word it?
Sunset the beach shuttle.
Sunset the beach shuttle, and consider one-offs for specific events.
Absolutely.
The Sunset Begins when, sorry?
We ran our summer, and
Okay,
this
so we're
would
done.
be, yeah,
Okay,
so
It just won't reinstall.
no spring break.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That is 5-0.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much, Commission.
Thank you for the report.
Thanks, Ryan.
And trust me, I have designs on those funds. Don't go away.
It is, but we also have to have some common sense here too, yeah.
When we need to move people, we need to be targeted as to how we.
There we go. Okay,
Like, yeah, whereas fixed route is just not.
we're almost to you. The Eurosari Swim Stadium Plunge Renovation Project update.
I have Aquatic Manager Joe Lormans.
There you go. Thank you.
Good evening, Commission. Nice to see you all. It's cool to be in here without a packed house. Last time I was in here, it was quite busy. So I have an update for you on the plunge tonight. I have an update directly from Public Works, which I'm going to read, and then I can provide some additional information and then answer questions to the best of my ability. So this is from Public Works. The contractor continues to make steady progress on several key areas of the pool facility project. Recent work includes the installation of composite decking at the lower bleacher area. Finishing work is also advancing with thin set applications to the concrete subfloor of the main pool and a third coat of paint applied to the wall sections in the women's locker room. Electrical and mechanical installations are moving forward as crews install power and control systems for the pool's chemical equipment, as well as outlets and switches in the mechanical room. Additional work includes running conduit for new speakers in the viewing terrace area and painting air ducts throughout the facility. The team is also installing uni-strut supports for air duct lines across the various sections of the building. On the exterior, crews are hand trenching and laying sections of 4-inch PVC pipe for the new storm drain system along the east side of the building. A new housekeeping pad for the switchgear cabinet has been formed and poured on the southeast side. Looking ahead, the contractor will focus on completing the locker rooms, including the installation of casework, countertops, and lighting fixtures. Work will also continue with the installation of bleachers on the second floor, along with improvements to the lobby, entrance, and exterior areas of the building. We recently got a critical path timeline that says that while the majority of the construction work will be done by the end of the year, inspections and final adjustments are set to be completed in February. We do not have a set date in February yet, but February is the current timeline. Additionally, we have formed a historical working group through the Aquatic Subcommittee. It consists of Commissioner Cavagnolo, Lee Davis, and Jane Burrell from the Arts and Cultural Commission. We have met a couple of times. We have gathered quite a bit of historical artifacts, historical pictures, paper articles, and we've kind of talked about the contents of the historical displays that are going to be displayed at the facility. We are working on getting our display cases spec'd out, our walls that are going to have the historical timeline and other historical information on them. Other than that, I can answer any questions. If I am unable to answer any questions, the Aquatic Subcommittee meeting on Monday will have Public Works at it, and they'll be able to answer more technical questions in depth.
Anyone have any questions for him? Thank you for your
I
update.
have quick one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Totally random, but the cages on the west side are still gonna be over the windows, correct?
Yes, to prevent from damage.
Because they were down for a little bit, and I was like, oh no.
We were taking them off to clean
I
them
figured,
and
yeah, I
paint
just
them.
wanted to make sure. All
Yeah.
right, cool.
Just one,
Go- I'm
Joseph, do
sorry,
you
go
know
ahead.
where we are on fundraising?
We are at about halfway. We're at 2.5, I believe. And we have other meetings set up with potential donors. We've been working with the South Bay Health and Recreation to close the gap further.
So, just so that people know, since this is going public, when they have to get their donations in order for their plaques to be made?
Yeah, great question. So we are currently figuring out the deadline to have the donations in, to have the plaques up on the wall by opening date. I expect it to be probably early December. But once you donate, then you will receive a PDF fillable form from Sherry Kramer from South Bay Health and Recreation, and it will have 3 lines that you can fill out on it, and you have a certain amount of characters that you put in, and then that will be what is on your acrylic panel of the donor wall.
Okay, thank you.
No images. However, on the donor wall, there will be photo panels, and those are going to be filled by community photo contests, and that will be swapped out probably every year or two. Yeah, but for the individual donors, it will just be your name or whatever you want it to say within the character limit.
Anyone else?
Yeah, there are.
Joe, thank you very much for the update. We
of course.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and that's a receive and file, so thank you. Number 5, the appoint the RPC review panel is no longer on this agenda. There is no report, there is nothing. So we'll move on from that. There's no unfinished business. Reports, Recreation Parks and Library Director.
There is the report that was connected to the agenda. If anyone has any questions on it, I'd be happy to try and answer.
All right, Mark, anything?
No.
Okay, Julie?
Well, of course. I just was hoping, because when I was gone for that month's time, I was still looking at Facebook and things, and quite a few trees came down in town. And, you know, I'm always on the tree thing. And I would like it, Christopher, to where maybe we could get a report each meeting on the tree removals that are going on and the particular trees, like what's wrong with them, you know, because the big one that was taken out at Main and Imperial, people are like, there was nothing wrong with that tree. Why was that taken out? And then there were 2 or 3 trees taken out of Library Park, and then the trees all along Mariposa before you reach the plunge are gone. It just seems like a lot of trees are coming down, and I understand trees have a lifespan as well, but the community doesn't seem to get that, and we're not getting any information about it, and they don't seem to be being replaced kind of in a timely manner. And so if we could maybe get a report on all the tree removals.
Thinking about kind of like what's our net tree loss over some period of time.
Well, and why? I mean, you know, those 3 trees that were taken out at Library Park there along Richmond, I think they were, I don't know, are they carob trees or something like that? It just seems like a lot of trees are coming out and not as many are going back in. And I know we should be doing a 1-for-1 replacement or more, but, and I kind of keep an eye on trees, and the process seems to be very slow. And then like the big one that went out at Maine and Imperial, what happened with that one? So I would just kind of like us to be more informed. It seems like people keep asking the environmental committee about that. That falls under us, not the environmental committee. We're the tree people, but it doesn't seem like we're getting reports on it. And even Chris, the mayor, when people talked about the tree at Maine and Imperial, he was like wanting them to reach out to the environmental committee, and he doesn't even know that. I'm like, that's Rec Park Commission. The trees fall under us. But I think that we should be getting reports on them. Just my feeling.
Yeah, we can do that. The Maine and Imperial, there's a sidewalk project going in, and it would have to cut almost 180% of the tree roots. So we were concerned about that, and we were under a certain amount of time frame to get that tree out, and that's why it kind of happened quickly, so to speak. But as far as the trees over at the library park that came out, we just planted new ones today, okay? So we do replace the trees when we take them out. Just like to reiterate that.
And then what about the trees along Mariposa, along the school there?
Those, we're waiting for the plunge to be completed. Are you talking about those?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're waiting for all the sidewalk construction to be completed. There was utilities and so forth. So those were gonna be affected no matter what happened. So we're just waiting. We've got the trees in the yard.
Okay.
Ready to go, and we'll replace them as soon as they clear it out.
Okay. And then one of the other questions that people were asking about, you know, the large tree that we voted on to come out in front of the church there on Richmond. Is another tree going to go back there somewhere, or is that going to be no tree at all?
There will be a tree. We're working with the pastor on making a selection. We were waiting to see what happens with the existing light pole there. Edison's has a crew that's gonna review it if it can be straightened, or they were looking at moving it at one time. I think now they're looking at just trying to straighten it up, and so we were waiting for all that to kind of settle out before we got into the tree replacement.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anyone else with the report? Oh. I don't think we're there. We're Recreation Parks Library Director right now. Nope, we are not yet. We'll get there. We're still, I'm gonna leave it alone. Christopher, thank you for having the answers. I appreciate that. So we'll move down to the next one, which is the Recreation and Parks staff.
I will just to tell you what's to come. So we do have at the Park Renovation Committee meeting, we talked about the court report that went to council about, I think it was in March. The request was to bring that to commission to kind of talk about the revenue and usage of pickleball versus tennis. So when they just approved at last council meeting, the cement repairs throughout the park. So in discussions on whether we should repaint those courts at that time. So that will be on the next council or next commission agenda. It was 2024 numbers, so I kind of wanted to re-up them, at least do the fiscal year, so we have some recent numbers. But that will be on next agenda.
With the staff recommendation.
Yes.
Okay, that's it for staff reports. Now, work commissioner reports. Julie?
I am part of the Vision 2050 committee, and we met on October 2nd and went over the survey results of what it is and how they're kind of putting the plan together. And there was some interesting information. We had some interesting discussion amongst the group. And now it went on the 9th to Planning Commission for them to hear the survey results. There are boards out there in our lobby area from it. And they were hoping that, maybe some people would come and speak at the Planning Commission. I was not able to go to that meeting. So hopefully some community members did go to that meeting. And then on the 21st, it will be presented to City Council. And then we will have another meeting soon. So that's what's going on with Vision 2050.
Okay, thank you. Dave, you're up.
Congratulations on the employee spotlight of the month. It's hard to get that in such a short time. Like, that means you made a serious impact, yeah. So congratulations. I also wanted to thank Mark. Bob, were you on the committee that redid the business plan for the pool, or was it just Mark? It was just Mark and Kelly. So all of you have served over the past several years on difficult committees, like what you were trying to accomplish, and then all of you have served on subcommittees that were controversial potentially, and this one was both difficult and controversial, and so I just wanted to thank you both for stepping up as volunteers to that difficult task and seeing it through, and just, I mean, it's kind of the hard stuff that this isn't just sitting here, so you guys take on a lot more than I do. So in this case, I just wanted to thank you both for all the work on that and all the time and effort.
Okay, thank you. Mark?
So we have not had a recent aquatic subcommittee meeting. I think most folks know what occurred at City Council, so presumably Joe and team are moving forward with that and, getting user groups signed up for everything that they are hopefully looking for, et cetera. So we'll talk more about it on Monday, and I'll get you more insight at that point.
Wonderful. Thank you. Kelly, now.
Sorry about that. I wondered why you jumped so far. All right. So I just wanted to mention about the Major Events Committee. We were going to originally go to council on October 7th with some recommendations, but that actually got moved to the 21st. So it sounds like the same meeting that your visionary stuff will be presented. There are three main categories of things that are being presented. One is the idea of the short-term rentals being, the short-term rental program being expanded for World Cup and hopefully as a pilot test for what could happen during the Olympics. So the idea is that to ease up on some of those restrictions and allow people to rent out their homes. The second one is related to advertising. So we're looking at testing whether or not council would be open to temporarily, only during this time, putting up ads on big buildings with wraps the revenue potential is quite significant, and we feel like because it's a short-term thing, it's a good test to see if that, you know, we obviously don't want to turn Mayberry into a big commercial hub, but at the same time, if we can, especially along the major corridors, have something that can generate a lot of revenue for the city, it might be, you know, kind of a quick cash grab and opportunity to maybe even cover over some of the buildings that are not as attractive as a way to dress them up. So that's something that they're looking at as well. And then the third thing is some pop-up events that we're thinking about having in different places, so kind of fan fests and things like that around town, utilizing spaces, trying to bring as much business to our local businesses as possible, and, you know, trying to get ourselves into the flavor of the event. So in the case of soccer, it would be a lot of little pop-up soccer type things, and then, you know, again, as some kind of a model for maybe what we could do for the Olympics. There's a fourth area that we're not going to council with, but that is being discussed, and that is what to do about parking, because we do expect that there will be a lot of people who use El Segundo as their airport parking, and we want to figure out a way to avoid that without necessarily rolling out a whole permitting system, because that's kind of a bigger undertaking. But we're certainly open to ideas as to how that could potentially be mitigated, because there's definitely a fear that, you know, this will be a great lift and drop off, you know. So anyway, that's Major Events Committee update. And I wanted to thank Mark for the aquatics. I'm going to give him the credit for the business plan, because he did a significant amount of work in pulling that together. And, you know, mostly the rest of us just critiqued and, you know, tried to provide different perspectives. But it's hard to be in that role as well, the role that Mark was in. So I think he did a great job.
Okay, thank you. And two things. Vivian, congratulations, and thank you for being here. And one more time, Christopher, thank you for having those answers. It's always good, quick answers, and I think really helpful. So thank you, everyone. And with that, we'll adjourn to our next regular scheduled meeting. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.